even get on top of my wife tonight.
I post online, I always get tags of we want to see you against so-and-so, and we want to see you against so-and-so.
Age, and they were at the time 8, 7, and 5, young kids going to school.
For decades, fans around the world have debated a single question. What happens when the power and charisma of professional wrestling meet the raw brutality of mixed martial arts? It's a clash between performance and pure combat, between showmanship and survival. In the ring, WWE stars are known for their personalities, their rivalries, and their larger-than-life presence. But in the cage, none of that matters. The lights are real. The pain is real. There are no storylines, only truth. This is the story of wrestlers who dared to step out of the scripted world and into one where there's nowhere to hide. Some shock the world with their success. Others learned the hard way that in MMA, arrogance is punished fast. From Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar to Dave Bautista and Ken Shamrock, these are the tales of warriors who carried their WWE legacy into real combat and crushed the doubters in the process. Bobby Lashley.
I can't even describe it right now. I'm on cloud 9. I'm ready to go. I've been training my ass.
Bobby Lashley was born to fight. Even before he became a wrestling superstar, he had a background in amateur wrestling, military service, and an iron will that set him apart. In WWE, he was known as the Dominator, a man of muscle, speed, and quiet confidence. When he decided to step into the world of MMA, many thought he was chasing fame, another wrestler trying to prove a point. But Lashley wasn't looking for attention. He was looking for competition. His debut fight was against Mike Cook, a man who walked into the cage with a smirk, dancing and mocking Lashley with a fake wrestling entrance. He wanted to humiliate the WWE star. That was his first mistake. The fight lasted seconds. Lashley stayed calm, moved in like a predator, and within moments had Cook trapped in a chokehold. It was over before anyone could blink. The crowd exploded as Cook tapped out, humbled and beaten. Lashley didn't brag. He didn't gloat. He simply stood up, composed as ever, proving that discipline always defeats arrogance. That moment was the birth of Lashley, the MMA fighter. No longer a performer, but a true warrior of the cage. Ken Shamrock Long.
To drink it, it gives me energy. At the same time, I don't got to worry about, any of the drop-offs or the sugars or anything like that. I can
Before WWE stars dreamed of MMA fame, one man had already done it all, Ken Shamrock. In the early 1990s, before the sport was even mainstream, Shamrock was already fighting in the early days of the UFC. He was one of the first athletes to show that a wrestler could dominate in real combat. Later, he joined the world of pro wrestling and became a star there too. Known for his fiery intensity and unmatched aggression, but Shamrock wasn't finished. Even after years in the ring, he returned to MMA, still hungry to fight. One of his memorable battles was against a giant named Ross the Grizzly Clifton, a 380-pound behemoth who thought he could crush the veteran. When the bell rang, Shamrock wasted no time. He stayed light on his feet, avoided the heavy swings, and waited for his opening. Then, bang, a perfectly timed right hand, followed by a smooth transition into an armbar. Seconds later, the giant was tapping. The match was over before it even began. The crowd roared as Shamrock raised his hands. Age didn't matter. Experience did. The lesson was clear. Never underestimate the old lion who built the jungle you're standing in. Dave Bautista.
No, it's a bitter conversation because I'm not really happy with what they've done with James Gunn. They're putting the movie
When Dave Bautista, known to millions as the Animal in WWE, decided to step into the MMA cage, many laughed. He's too old, they said. He's an actor now. But Bautista didn't care what anyone thought. He wanted to prove that his heart was still that of a fighter. In his debut fight, he faced a tough veteran who underestimated him. From the opening bell, Bautista took heavy shots but kept pushing forward. Then, like a switch flipped, his instincts took over. A storm of punches followed, lefts, rights, elbows, each one fueled by years of discipline and training. The referee had no choice but to stop the fight. Bautista had won by technical knockout. His opponent's arrogance had turned into disbelief. As Bautista raised his hand, sweat dripping down his face, the world realized the animal was real. Not just in wrestling, but in the fight game too. Jake Hager.
I became worthy of riding next to Zeb Colt. all those.
In wrestling, Jake Hager was a fan favorite, known for his all-American charm and his collegiate wrestling background. But when he entered MMA, he wasn't there to entertain. He was there to dominate. Hager's transition to the cage was natural. Years of real wrestling gave him the edge, the control, the balance, and the raw power that few could match. His opponents often underestimated him, treating him like a showman instead of a real fighter. That mistake cost them dearly. In one of his fights, his opponent came out swinging, full of confidence. Hager didn't flinch. He closed the distance, took him down effortlessly, and locked in a chokehold so tight that the man had no choice but to tap. But Hager wasn't satisfied. He held the submission a few seconds longer than usual, not out of disrespect, but to send a message. This isn't entertainment anymore. This is real. Every time he stepped into the cage, Hager carried the pride of wrestling with him, proving that technique, not ego, wins fights. Shinsuke Nakamura.
Hey, I don't know what came over me. Maybe.
Before he became one of the most charismatic WWE stars, Shinsuke Nakamura was a real fighter. In Japan, he was known for his unique fighting style, a mix of martial arts, flair, and fearlessness. When he entered MMA, fans were curious. Could the king of strong style back up his confidence with real combat skill? In only his second fight, Nakamura faced a much larger opponent, a giant who thought he could easily overpower the lean, young Japanese star. But Nakamura was clever. He used his speed, movement, and striking precision to keep the big man off balance. When the fight ended, Nakamura's face was covered in blood, a warrior's badge of honor. He had survived, adapted, and proved that courage and creativity can stand up to brute force. It was the beginning of a legend that would later captivate the WWE universe. But it started here, in the cage, with fists, blood, and heart. Brock Lesnar.
I'm gonna drink a Coors Light. That's a Coors Light because Bud Light won't pay me nothing.
And then came Brock Lesnar, perhaps the most dominant crossover athlete of all time. Even in WWE, Lesnar was a freak of nature, massive, explosive, unstoppable. But when he decided to enter MMA, fans and fighters alike wondered, could he really make it in the real world of combat? His first professional fight answered that question loud and clear. Lesnar's speed and power were unlike anything the MMA world had seen. He moved like a lightweight, but hit like a freight train. Within seconds, he slammed his opponent to the mat and unleashed a barrage of punches that forced the referee to intervene. The beast had arrived, and he was terrifying. Soon after, Lesnar signed with the UFC, where he would become heavyweight champion, silencing critics and making history as the first true pro wrestling superstar to conquer the MMA world. Lesnar's reign was short but unforgettable. A perfect storm of raw athleticism, discipline, and fury. He wasn't there to play a role. He was there to dominate. Clash of egos. What made these stories unforgettable wasn't just the victories. It was who they defeated. Many MMA fighters mocked the idea of WWE stars entering their world. They saw them as actors, not athletes. But fight after fight, the wrestlers proved them wrong. They brought intensity, training, and an unmatched mental toughness. When Bobby Lashley fought the massive Bob Sapp, a man known for his size and power, fans expected chaos. But Lashley handled him like a technician. He took Sapp down with ease, controlled him on the ground, and forced the tap. It wasn't even close. In another fight, Lashley faced James Thompson, a man who had once beaten him unfairly. Years later, they met again. This time, Lashley dominated from start to finish, crushing Thompson with relentless ground and pound until the referee stopped the fight. Balance was restored and revenge was sweet. Each fight carried a message. Confidence without respect leads to defeat. The price of greatness. Fighting is more than strength, it's sacrifice. And every one of these men paid the price. Behind the bright lights and the roaring crowds were years of pain, training, and discipline. These were not actors looking for fame. They were competitors chasing something real. The validation that only comes from true combat. Their journeys were different, but their spirits were the same. Lashley's patience, Shamrock's experience, Bautista's heart, Hager's control, Lesnar's fury, Nakamura's creativity. Each man stood for something bigger. The idea that courage means stepping out of comfort zones, even when the world doubts you. Today, these fighters are remembered not just as wrestlers or mixed martial artists, but as pioneers. They proved that worlds could collide and greatness could exist in both. Their stories inspired a new generation of athletes to dream bigger, to understand that strength isn't only measured in muscles or victories, but in the willingness to fight for what you believe in, even when others laugh. Every punch they threw, every submission they locked in, and every roar of the crowd told the same story. The line between entertainment and reality is thinner than we think. And sometimes when the cage door closes, the heroes we grew up watching become the warriors we truly respect. The crossover between WWE and MMA is more than a trend. It's a testament to the human spirit. It's about pushing limits, embracing fear, and proving that strength is more than physical. From Lashley's dominance to Lesnar's fury, from Bautista's heart to Shamrock's legacy, each man left a mark on two worlds. They walked into cages where fame meant nothing, where every mistake hurt and every victory mattered. And they came out as legends who redefined what it means to be a fighter. Because in the end, whether in a ring or a cage, one truth remains: fight is universal, and respect is earned, not given.